Hello, everyone. My name is Tucker, and welcome back to our Russian fishing for float fishing journey. Setting up here at Mosquito, wanted to catch some rough and see what the changes are at Mosquito. So it's getting close to nighttime. Um, saw this spot on the VK forums for the Russian fishing for community there. So wanted to just see what happens. They did say they upped the price of rough, and I haven't played into that. So this spot, a couple of people have said they've caught trophy roaches and trophy roughs here. So I've got a caddisfly on size 16 on hook one. On hook two, which just caught that small roach you saw when we logged in there. I got a size 20 with the worm, and then I've got a size right now 16 with worm on the bottom rod. I'll probably change that out later on as we get closer to rough time. But wanted to see what nice sleeper there. Wanted to see what the changes at Mosquito really look like and if the increased prices of rough really made it worthwhile. It was raining at Oldberg when I logged in, and I just wasn't in the mood to fish a rainy Oldberg. So a small white bream. This may be a bit of a short episode. It's actually about 10 o'clock at night my time, and I just got our spin fishing series uploaded a few minutes ago. So again, I created a new account and a new series focusing on spin fishing and going through the brand new tutorial system that was released yesterday. So today is October 12th, 2020, and October 11th, a new tutorial system was released. So definitely been a lot of fun to be spin fishing. It's been pretty successful so far within game. We're on day 2 and we're already up to level 8. So definitely been a lot of fun there for something different. So if you are interested, I will have a link to that playlist in the description below. I don't think I've got rod 2 set quite as deep as I want to, or quite as deep as rod 1. So rod 1 is at a meter and a half. And so far, you've got to cast almost full gusto to get it out where a meter and a half doesn't set upright. So I may lower that down to about a meter, 0.4, 1.3 meters. But it's still early. We're getting to rough time, and there's our first rough. So an 86 gram marker rough. Right now, there are no rough orders here at Mosquito. Part of why I wanted to do this was just testing what the changes to the fish market were for rough and if it's worth it to fish for rough, even if there's not a cafe order. Seems like there's more waves in the water than before. Wrong button. Went to hit the minus key and hit 0 and put the rod down instead of shortening the float. That's better. So we're definitely getting into rough time here. So let's put a 22 with worm on our bottom rod. And I believe I've got an 8-meter clip. Yep, I've got an 8-meter clip on here right now. Might do a 10, see if it's any different here in a few, but it's worth getting started here. So depth-wise, this was at 1 meter. Let's go down to 1.25 meters. And there was a bite, but it didn't fully engage. So rod 1's got the caddisfly on it. Honestly hoping for rough there. Rod 2 and 3 have worm, aiming for rough. So rod 1 roach, rod 2 and 3 rough. I do want to lower the quiver tip on this. I noticed the line had gone slack, but I think I heard the bells jingle, but I didn't hear them keep jingling. So I want to lower the quiver tip to a lower force, which will help these smaller fish like rough cause the bells to jingle so that we hopefully notice a bite a little bit easier. Small little rough there on float. That is definitely not a rough. Or if it is, it's one of the biggest rough I've ever caught. Almost a 1 kilo bream on a 22 hook with worm. Not the fish I would expect to catch on that setup. I thought that looked like there was a fish on. Another small rough. I swear there's a tree or something out there that I keep landing on. I think at the end of the last episode, we did buy some new line. I don't think I put it on either rod yet. I just actually remembered that we even did it. 69 experience points on that rough. So this one still has the 10 pound monoline. So does this. So we have not upgraded to the new line we purchased at the end of the last episode. At least I think we purchased it. I know we looked at it. Yeah, we did purchase some blue monoline. Kind of our next thing we were targeting was going to be some fluorocarbon line. I saw the float drop there. I just didn't get switched over in time. So the reason I want to use fluorocarbon line is it's less visible, almost invisible in the water to fish. So cautious fish would be more likely to grab the bait. Oh, that's right. I've got the bigger hook and different bait on this, so I'm not really looking at rough. I'm looking more for a roach bite. Something to keep in mind there on rod 1. Nice rough there, 200 experience points. I was watching a training seminar at that 4-letter W word today and logged on to kind of a test account I have for spin fishing just to play around. I just got a little bit of everything: bottom fishing, float fishing, spin fishing on it. And it's right about the same level as this character. And in about 25 minutes, we got halfway to level 12 there. So, or halfway to level 13. So I'm interested to see how float fishing, bottom fishing does from an experience point, because the spin fishing setups that I've been using have been light or ultralight setups, which come with some bonus XP. And I've thought about getting those, especially if we're going to be focusing on these small fish more and more. Nice fish here. Almost a half-kilo roach. If we're going to be focusing on these small fish, having of 25% or 50% bonus to experience would be worth it. So that might be the next thing we start looking at, is a more of a setup for ultralight, or start looking into bolognese rods. The bolognese rods are basically similar to the bottom fishing, except and the telesticks, but closer to the bottom fishing in that you will cast out with a reel on your rod and then be able to float fish further out from where you're at. So I could cast out 10 meters and then float straight down. Whereas here, I'm probably only getting 5 or 6 meters out into the water. I think there's a fish on rod 1 as well. Decent little rough there. There's a marker. Do you think there's a fish on 1? Nope. Not quite. I was watching it swim outward. And then I heard the bells a couple times here and wasn't sure if there was a fish on. So picked it up, press R. When it said the rotation speed is set to automatic, you know you have a fish on. Decent rough. Another 200, 300 experience points. It does look like some of the changes are there's more. The wind has picked up. It's 3 meters per second wind, but I'm noticing more waves on the water, and the floats or the bobbers are bobbing up and down more than usual. but not really acting like a bite. Definitely more realistic in that regards. Another decent small rough. Not quite a marker. Good fish here. 300-gram white bream. Nice. All right. I'm going to switch over to a 24 hook with worm on this rod. The caddisfly was just not working. Going for rough right now. Or going for roaches. May try going for roaches during the day and focus on rough tonight. Jumped the gun there. I looked up and thought I saw the float completely underwater. I also wouldn't mind buying a pair of binoculars soon, especially if we're going to go bolognese fishing. So with binoculars, you can zoom in a second time. Another rough here. And I'm just missing almost every bite on rod 1. I don't know if it's the changes or what, but I switched off of caddisfly because what I thought were bites weren't. And went to the same thing that's on rod 2. Every time I think there's a bite on 2, I've been successful. Every time I think there's a bite on rod 1, there hasn't been. Good fish here. 300-gram gibble. Not worth a whole lot experience-wise. Another small non-marker rough there. But I'll take it. Marker rough. I honestly remember rough being profitable before. So I'm curious what significantly increased the price means. I remember the about 100-gram rough was 4 or 5 silver a piece. Missed another one on rod 1. Getting angry. Rod 1 is deeper. I wonder if I'm hitting the bottom. What I read was where people are using 1.5 meters here, and their floats were sitting upright, but I think they were also using longer rods, so they're able to get out a little bit further than we can. From the looks at it, they were using 7-meter rods, and we only have 6-meter rods. Finally, at least it's a decent fish over there on rod 1 too, for the first one we caught in a while. Another decent rough here. Just shy of of 100 grams. 300 experience points. Now I'm missing on 2. Small rough up to 31% on bottom fish or float fishing. Saw the float swimming outwards. Nice rough there. 448 experience points. Yeah, there's got to be a tree or a rock or something just past the little lily pads. Although now I'm getting... What is going on? Why is this thing just laying over? There's a fish over on 1. It's a small rough. All right, I'm going to just reset that rod. I don't know why every time I cast out, the float is laying over on it. The only thing different is we have a 20 hook on it. Cast a little over this way. Does it do the same? Is there just something in the water that you can't see over there? Baby rough. I think there might be something under the water. Actually, I think I even see... Yeah, I can see something in the water just off the lily pads there that I kept setting rod 2 on. I'm not sure how well that shows up on YouTube, but it looks like there's a tree or a stick or something like that sticking off the end of the lily pad, kind of between the 2 pieces of grass there. Someone just got a 176 gram rough. Not necessarily right here, but weekly record 167 gram rough. That's a big rough. I think 150 is a trophy. Sleepers are starting to come out. I was just surprised that rod hadn't done anything in a while. Messed up the bite there. I didn't mean to click. Little 40-gram rough. Do some bait harvesting. Saw 23.7% there. Got a couple of red worms. Definitely want to keep leveling up our bait harvesting so that we can get new baits. I don't have a point. I didn't realize that. Putting points in telescopic rods also counted for bolognese rods. That was interesting. The float wasn't visible even on the float camera, but there wasn't a fish on it. And now it's doing the same thing where it's just popped up for no reason. There we go. Now it's finally settled in the water correctly. Decent number of decent rough there. This is not a rough. It's a decent roach. Nope, that was just floating in the waves. It's definitely interesting to see the changes there with the floats or the bobbers bobbing more in just standard waves from the wind. At least more than I ever remember them doing in the past. Decent sleeper, I think. Yep. And unfortunately, Rod 2's float is just laying on the ground again. Not sure what's causing that, where Rod 2 just either there's something out there that I just can't see that it's actually landing on. But it seems like if I put Rod 1 in the exact same spot at the exact same depth, the float doesn't lay over. So I don't know if that's a bug or what. So I just took the float off, put it back on, kind of just reset things. Was seeing the nibble, and then I saw the float pop up and cut a little bream there. Nice, the float camera actually has both floats in it right now. Small sleeper. Good marker off. All right, let's try the new line on here. So this line is a little bit stronger than anything we've been using. Going after rough, I don't think it's going to matter at all because they're small fish. But it's also a little bit thicker, so a little bit more visible. So it's 0.24. And what we have been using, actually, it's a little bit thinner. Interesting. 0.26. Usually, same rod or same type of line, monofilament or braided or fluorocarbon, same type of line. More weight means it's going to be thicker. In this case, it was a little bit thinner. Is there a fish over here? No. Being back at Mosquito, I'm getting the new hint system as well too. So it was telling me my food level has dropped. I can get free food. That was another thing they added along with the tutorial system, or more just in-game hints. Which should help new players out. Sleepers are starting to come out now. And Tucker's getting sleepers. Or sleepy. We had a good amount of rain overnight here, so I was woken up a couple different times with the rain overnight. Especially since when I went to bed, there was a 0% chance of rain. And we probably had 4 or 5 hours of rain last night. and winds, and I live in an area with a bunch of 60, 70-year-old oak trees. So there were acorns falling all night, along with rain. And for some reason, despite folks having garages, most people in my neighborhood park their cars in their driveway rather than in their garage. So when acorns were falling, they were bouncing off of vehicles. Little white bream. It's getting to be 10 o'clock. We're probably not going to see too many more rough today. So I think I'm going to go ahead and head back to town, sell off the rough, get this uploaded. So a little bit of a short episode today, depending on what's on this line. Might be a little bit of a short episode. Of course, I catch a 100-gram rough as I'm saying it's a little bit late for rough. But mainly an experiment to see what significantly increased the price of rough in the patch notes mean. You know, if we're getting 6, 7, 8 silver for those 100-gram rough, that'll be interesting. If we're getting 5.5, to me, that doesn't qualify as significantly. And we'll go ahead and get our free food. Do a dig. 23.9%. So we'll come over here to the fish market. Bream, that random 1 kilo bream's worth about 1 silver. Sleepers aren't bad for the markers. I think they raised the price a little bit there. 2 and 3 silver each. So 6 of them for 10. Roaches. I don't think they changed the price much there. 5 of them for 5. Random marker, small marker gibble, not even half a silver. That random 310-gram white bream, definitely worth it at 3 silver. And as far as rough go, to me, maybe a silver increase on average. I think these used to be about 4.5 silver. Now they're 5.5 silver. So, I mean, that is a 25% increase, but 29 rough, 46 silver. We're up to 135 silver. So, not a bad day. I am curious if we look at lines and fluorocarbon lines, if there's anything right around that 7 kilo. So 6.478. 6.2 or 7.4. 7.4 is not horrible. I think it's still a little bit bigger. So 6.9, 129. That's probably our best. That's all big. This is mainly small. Very small. That's not going to line up. This is a big spool, which we don't really need a big spool for float fishing. Seven four six two, very expensive. So we'll buy the 129 silver fluorocarbon line. We'll put it here on rod 2. So notice how it's 6.9 kilograms, 0.3 millimeters. So it's fairly thick compared to 7 kilos and 0.24. But in the water, it's less visible to fish. Huh. The boat even got blown around by the wind earlier. That's interesting. So there's monofilament line. It happens to be blue. Right now, everything I've read is the color of line doesn't really matter. And there's our fluorocarbon line. It happens to be white, but just the makeup of the line makes it less visible in the water here. So let's just throw some pearl barley on here, cast out. This has been a pretty decent roach spot for me in the past. We fished here many, many times. Do a quick kind of comparison. Obviously, you're not going to see the exact same fish attack, but we might catch a couple of fish here and see if the monoline does better or worse than the floral line. If I am not where I... Okay, good. It's about to get real mad. It wouldn't let me put the rod down because it said I was too close. Decent little crucian there. It's 600 gram. Already, and you... What is going on? Would not let me pick up rod 1 there. Even if I pressed E to pick it up, it was telling me it was already in my hands. Well, both caught a decent fish there. Although I don't think I put the same size hooks. Yeah, this one still has a very small hook on it. So we're not really comparing apples to apples here. So I've got a 14 and a 24. Through the float into the boat there. Let's put a 14 on. It's a different brand, but gets us a little bit closer. I think next episode I may actually do a true exact same brand of hooks, exact same size of hooks, exact same floats, and just see if there's any difference in the monofilament line versus the fluorocarbon line. was the right rod to pick up. So far, the monofilament line has been the more active line. But it seems like when the fish go after the fluorocarbon line, they tend to nibble less and just attack it right out. Man, we're caught under the boat now. Oh well. Let's go sell the couple of fish we caught there. While just playing around. We really fished there for 2.5 hours in game. 3 hours almost. One of three there. Only one. I didn't get any orders. Just didn't expect to, but had to at least look. So decent crucians. I mean, not bad there just for not really trying to catch anything major. But gives us a little bit of cushion in our pocket. I think we now actually do have enough to go back to Old Berg. But I think next episode I may do a true comparison and see what we can do there. But that's going to wrap things up for today. I do appreciate everyone watching. And we'll be back again tomorrow. Have a good one.